Yes.
listen. Okay, so we have been referencing, and this time you've been reading a nonfiction book. Can you tell me the difference between a nonfiction book and a fiction book?
A fiction book can be false or not true, and a nonfiction book is true.
Okay, can you tell me the title of your book?
The Best Book of Bugs.
Okay, and what page are you on?
I am on page 18.
Okay, and how do you know, do you think that this is a good fit book?
I do,
And why?
because I did my 5-finger count to make sure that I didn't get more than 3 words on a page wrong.
Okay, okay. And we've been working on the strategy of summarizing, and we were looking at subtopics. And can you tell me how that has worked for you while you've been reading this book?
Well, I've noticed that there's a heading of hardworking ants on this page, and then I find subheadings. I know that they're headings because they're bold and big, larger print, and then I find subheadings because they're still bold print, but they're not as big as the headings. And so underneath each subheading, then it talks about, like this one talks about the queen ant, this one talks about weaver ants, and this one talks about honeypot ants, and this one talks about an ant's nest.
Okay, can you read one of those subtopics for me? And then, because we're working on summarizing, can you tell me what that part is actually about?
Honeypot ants. Honeypot ants use some of their workers as jars. When flowers are plentiful, they fill their workers with nectar. They milk them when food is harder to find.
Okay, so what did that subheading or subpart of the passage tell you?
Well, honeypot ants, the way I read this, to summarize it, was that these ants, when there's lots of nectar in the plants, and they can get lots of sweet food from the plants, and they don't need all of it at that time, they have these honeypot ants who appear to have like a pot as their back end. And what they do is they fill those pots up on those ants with nectar. And then those ants carry that around until it's needed, and then once it's needed, then they milk it from those ants and then share it with the colony of ants.
So I think the picture even sort of helped you understand it a little more. So we have to always make sure we're looking at the picture as well, I think. Because I've never seen anything like that.
I've never have either. And that's one thing I like about this book is it gives you pictures to go along with what you're reading. And I find that very helpful when I'm reading a book like this.
Absolutely. So as you continue, I would like you to, let's try this strategy some more. After each subheading, I want you to stop and think to yourself, what was this about? Because if you don't remember what it was about, what do you think would be something you should do?
I have learned that if I don't understand what that is about when I'm done reading it, I question myself, I should go back and I should reread it again. So maybe I can understand it the second time.
Okay, so the next time we meet, if you're still on this book, we're definitely going to make sure that you would do this with a nonfiction book under a subheading. But if you happen to, by the time we meet again, go to a fiction book, try and do that with each big paragraph as well. So you could use that same summary strategy after a big paragraph to be able to share with me that you understand summarizing.
Okay,
You can get back to reading.
thank you.